decisions, great mound visits, great job not letting the best player beat you.
This one crushed, out to right field. And it's going to be out of here. Pennsylvania walk-off home run. Travis Devonic sends him to Williamsport.
With the 37th pick of the 2023 MLB Draft, the Detroit Tigers select Kevin McGonigal, a shortstop from Monsignor Bonner High School, Drexel Hill, Pennsylvania.
2 balls, 2 strikes to Bryce Harper. Suarez delivers. Swing and a drive. Left field. It's deep. It's going. Yes! And it is gone!
Yes!
It is bedlam at the bank as Bryce Harper has put the Phillies on top.
Are you kidding me?
Oh, his 10th career home run in the postseason. And he may never hit a bigger one.
What is up, Delaware County, and welcome back for episode number 81 of Delco Baseball Now. That's Ben Thorpe being brutally attacked by a Wi-Fi outage in the Conshohocken area, calling in from the iPhone. Ben, we got to do what we got to do, right?
Yeah. This one is brought to you by Xfinity. Can't describe how great it is having them or being a customer of theirs, especially when my Wi-Fi drops when I need it most and I can't get it back until midnight. So, yeah, great, fantastic.
So we currently have no sponsors, but we have one anti-sponsor.
Yes, yeah. I have. They're gonna have to pay me to even they're gonna have to pay us for me to not tell people to not use them.
All right, so if you're listening, Verizon, T-Mobile, anybody else that has Wi-Fi, come be a sponsor for us here. But hey, we got to do what we got to do. We got a lot of stuff to talk about here. We have, we usually try and stay in the Delco world, but with, Major League Baseball is going to be kind of one of the only things we have left once the Delco season ends. Crazy trade deadline. The Phillies got a couple of reinforcements, Yohan Duran and Harrison Bader that we'll talk about in a little bit. But I think we kind of start off with stuff going on in the Delco world. And we also have some interviews here. We got Upper Darby. I think he's playing first base these days. Joey Suppa, probably, right? Joey Suppa from Upper Darby, 2-time Delco League champ. We got Wayne, just pitcher now, Tommy Bradley. Spent a lot of time catching and playing the infield as well, but he's just a pitcher now, and it's really paid dividends for him as well. So we will hear from both of those guys in a little bit. But I think we start off, there's really 3 main summer leagues that I would say is kind of that, 18 and up demographic. There's the Mid-County League, which used to be known as EDCO, which is, I think, officially 18 and up. MSBL, which I play in, that's 25 and up. And then the Delco League, which doesn't really have an official age limit, but I'd usually say you're not playing in it until you're probably a junior in high school.
Yeah, I think it's like a 16 and up. It's probably your...
Yeah, as Joey Suppa said in the interview, he started getting some appearances when he was 14, pinch running. But at this point, it's pretty much just like junior in high school. But we'll start with we're right. This episode is being recorded Thursday night. We were planning on recording after the Mid-County League Championship ended, but then the rain had other plans there. We got that series is a best of 3. It's going to game 3. As of right now, there's no official date. The last I heard, we were being told Monday at Sun Valley could be when the game is made up because fields might not be ready for tomorrow. The home field for the Clifton Outlaws team is Dermont, but Dermont is getting the fence removed for football season. That was also our home field for the Drexel Hill Phillies. So I don't think that anyone wants to play there. So I think Monday at Sun Valley could be the move. Either way, it won't be out by the time this episode's over, or by the time this episode's aired. But we'll talk a little bit about that. A lot of familiar faces here. A lot of guys that are either still in college or right out of college from Sun Valley and Upper Darby, which makes sense being Clifton versus Aston Valley. So in game 1, we have the Aston Valley Bombers taking down the Clifton Outlaws 8-5. Cam Bauman, who is not a Delco guy, but he played for Penn State Brandywine, hit 2 homers in that game. I think I saw he's an Oxford guy maybe. Ryan Snyder, who is a Penn State Brandywine guy and Sun Valley guy, 4 for 4 with a homer and a double. We got a couple of Marple guys here that pitched well. Michael Paytas was a Brandywine guy. He threw 4 innings with 1 earned run. Mike Govan was also a Marple guy. Also, this is 4 Penn State Brandywine guys that led the way. He had 3 innings with 2 earned runs in the win. But then in game 2, Clifton came back. Nate Mowbray, who the name sounds familiar. I think he played for Interboro.
Yeah, I think he's an Interboro guy.
Yeah, like that name looked familiar. He threw a complete game with 1 earned run and 4 Ks. Dom Vanini, believe a Carroll guy, went 2 for 3 with 2 RBIs. Colin Bealis had 2 hits. He was an Upper Darby guy. So this has been a really good series, and I think this year is really good for the league. It's going to sound condescending, but the team I played for, that Broomall Gators team, the reality is they won 5 out of the last 6 years. We built up such a good team there. And this year, a lot of guys went to MSBL. Some guys went back to Delco League. Some guys just weren't interested in playing. So that team kind of folded. I think it's really good for the league that there's kind of more faces involved.
Yeah, I agreed. I don't know. I mean, it's, dynasties are cool in anything, but when there is one dominating force in any league, I think it's almost unquestionably bad for the league. And not to be like, oh, there's like when the Gators were in it, it was kind of them and then everyone else, and that's never good for the survival of a league and the growth of a league. So for now to have like more teams, I think there's a lot more talent that's come into the league from like the way you've talked about it to like what I've seen and kind of heard with it this year. And that's good. The Aston Valley seems to be like a pretty good like Penn State Brandywine pipeline there. Clifton's got, clearly a good pipeline. The Expos new team this year had to have a good, and Garnet Valley's been a solid team in there for a while now. So it's good to see some new faces, good to see some new competitors. And it's overall going to be good for the league because there's really not anything else out there that's, I think one of the good things that the Echo has is it's really good for guys who, maybe are in college and not playing college baseball or, out of college and just don't have the time for the Delco League because the Delco League is a huge commitment. And so it's good to see, that, second option where like guys who want to keep playing baseball and love this game can keep playing. It's good to see that grow.
So yeah, follow along with our newsletter if you can to stay up to date on that. I don't have an exact answer for that game 3, but we'll move into MSBL here. We'll have the championship starting this weekend. The Collingdale Colts and the Drexel Hill Phillies. Funny enough, it is a rematch, but it's not technically from the MSBL because last year there was the MSBL and then there was the Delco Adult Baseball League, and these two leagues merged after the DABL was just 1 year. They merged together. I don't know why they didn't merge to begin with, but they merged together. So last year we were sponsored by Casey's in Drexel Hill. We beat them in the championship. It'll be a rematch this year. We'll start with the Collingdale Colts and Springfield Cardinals series. So that was an interesting series because the Cardinals won 8-0 against Collingdale in game 1. Ryan Barth threw a complete game shutout. Joe Hurley had 2 hits for Springfield. They really just, came out of the gate strong. But then in game 2, Collingdale rebounded. They won 6-5. Dan Whalen struck out 10 in a complete game through 125 pitches in the win for Collingdale. Corbin Naima and Jabir Khan, they both homered. Colin Matisse drove in 2 runs. So that evened up the series. That forced game 3. And Collingdale ended up winning the series. They won that last game 5-3. Will Mastic had a single in the 7th. It was 2-2 going into the 7th that put them ahead. Mark Gervasi and Jordan Lee both had sac flies. Danny Ouimet threw 5 1/3 with 2 earned runs. And Mark Gervasi, not much of a pitcher. He got the save in this one.
Yeah. I mean, we stopped over there for like the last half inning and got to see Mark. Mark's my guy, so it was cool to see him throwing. He was telling me he just couldn't even grip the baseball between the sweat and the rain. Just had no shot. So he was kind of just like lobbing them in there, and it worked out. It was one of those things where I think it like towards the end of that game, it was probably like you should delay it a bit or kind of have everyone go in the dugout, wait for the rain to go by. But there's 1 out to get in the series. You might as well try and finish it. It was pretty intense. Mark got the job done, and moving on.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good point. Nobody wants to, sit in the field was only going to get worse. Nobody wants to come back for another day and play one out or one half inning. So I think
it was an out. Like I think.
Yeah. You're not going to show up and play now. I will say, so that's a good segue into the other semifinal series. My Drexel Hill Phillies and the defending champion, I believe, Glen Mills Rays. So game one, Joe Nestle, just unbelievable as always. He's been fantastic this year. He threw a complete game shutout with 10 strikeouts. I think we talked about that in the last episode because that game was last Wednesday. But then on Friday, Kalen Rigner, who's been pretty much the 1B to Nestle's 1A, 6 shutout innings. He had 8 strikeouts in that game. Tommy Crumlish drove in 2 runs. So did yours truly, drove in 2 runs.
Nice.
He had 3 hits in that game. Yeah, it's about time I did something. I haven't done that since the 21 finals when we started this Week in Delco League podcast to begin with. But I think this is going to be a good series. I think that if I had to say, I think we have the pitching advantage. I think they have a really good lineup that we didn't see during the regular season. I think when we played them both times, they were kind of just patching it together. But I think that their 1-9 is very good. I might slightly lean that they have the better offense. So I think this is going to be good. I think that there's a good chance. I'm hoping it doesn't go to 3 games because I want to stream game 1 of the Delco League Finals. So if Colts, if you beat us game 1, just beat us game 2. But as of right now, we'll see how the field holds up. It's supposed to be a doubleheader at O'Hara starting at 2 o'clock on Saturday. And then if necessary, game 3 Sunday at Bonner at 2 o'clock because you guys will be playing on O'Hara. Yeah. That's who knows how the field's going to look. Honestly, I'm very curious, but either way, I'm excited. This is a good. I really like our group of guys. I think we have a very good balance of we have fun, we enjoy ourselves, but when the playoffs come, we're ready to play winning baseball. Get the situational hitting down. Because when you play at Dermont all year, you're going to try and swing for the fences, right? It's a small field.
Yeah.
Regular season, we're still. I think we're 19-1. So we're still winning these games, but now it's hey, you got to do what's best for the team now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's everything changes when you get the playoff baseball. It's always fun. It's going to be a good series, and very exciting. And I will put my my stamp of approval on O'Hara's field maintenance and just how it drains. I think it's going to rain until early tomorrow morning. Tomorrow being Friday. But O'Hara drains great. So if you guys got some sun and everything, you'll be playing.
That's the goal. All right. Before we get into our Delco League Finals preview and the interviews, let's real quick talk a little trade deadline here. The Phillies acquired Joan Duran, who, if you don't know about him, he throws hard. His fastball has been up to 103, 104, usually sitting more around 100, maybe 99. But I think there's 2 things that Phillies fans are going to fall in love with. Number 1 is the splinker, which is his splitter sinker pitch. That's genuinely a 98-mile-an-hour splitter. It's ridiculous. And he has an awesome walk-up, an entrance song, when he goes into the game.
Yeah, I've seen that.
It's awesome where the lights go down, the fans bring the flashlights out, and it's just Spanish dance music. And seeing that at Citizens Bank Park is going to be awesome.
Oh yeah, I'm looking forward to his first save opportunity. It's going to be a good time.
It also seems unlike what we've kind of done in the past, he is the closer. He will come in the 9th inning with a lead, maybe a tie game if that closers do that sometimes and keep a game tied. But he will be their 9th inning guy.
Yeah, I think it's a good thing. The Phillies have, I don't think they've really done that in a while. And to be fair, they haven't had a true 9th inning closer. I think they've had a couple guys that they've tried to put into that role. You saw a little bit with Estevez last year, and I guess he is a 9th inning guy, but just struggled a bit. Alvarado's been good in that role, but also has had some tough outings. Same to be said with Strom. Getting a guy like this who this is your 9th inning guy, this is a premier closer in the league, is huge, and it lets you have that final thing set, and it lets you kind of gives you a little bit more wiggle room and just ability to work with, bridge, you from where your starter is to getting to him.
Yep, and another move. Also, last thing I'll say about that is we also have him for the next 3 playoff runs.
Yeah, it's huge.
Like he's not a rental.
Yeah, that's massive to get because it's massive to get him when he still has some team control.
Very happy that Mick Abel really kind of revived his career. Last year he wasn't really thought of as highly. He worked hard. He got back into it. I wish him the best with the Twins. Eduardo Tate is a highly regarded catching prospect, but I think he's only like 18 or 19. So we'll worry about that when we worry about that. But for now, this is a great move. Second move the Phillies made was trading for Harrison Bader, a center fielder from the Twins. My last memory of him in the playoffs, he was awesome with the Yankees. He had a couple homers. I think he was on the Mets last year. I don't think he did too much last year.
He was, yeah.
I don't think he did too much last year for them. I think he was more coming off the bench, but he's having a great year so far this year. And at the end of the day, he's better than Kepler. He's better than Rojas, better than Marsh. Like, he's probably at worst their second best outfielder now. He's a great defensive outfielder as well. They didn't really have to give up too much to get him. I think that anybody that's too upset we didn't do more, there really wasn't much more out there. Like the White Sox were asking for too much for Luis Robert. Same thing, Cleveland probably wanted Painter and or Miller for Stephen Kwan. Like I would say that this is a B+ deadline.
Yeah, I think it's a fair. I kind of agree with the argument of Bader is that I guess you could have made a bigger splash. But also you did make that outfield position better today. And that's, and in the deadline, you made your 2 biggest needs better. Maybe in terms of the outfield, not significantly better, but better. And, got another guy where maybe like Bader finds what he had a couple postseasons ago and just goes crazy and, does his thing. Now I'm happy with it. I think a B+ is fair. We also retained probably the top 3 prospects we have. So, it's, I would have loved like a Stephen Kwan or a Robert, but I'm happy with what we have.
I would say there's definitely a couple winners, couple losers. The Minnesota Twins are just absolutely blowing it up. Carlos Correa got traded back to the Astros, which is wild. After you thought like he signed that big deal with the Twins there. Eugenio Suarez went back to the Mariners. That was the guy that I wanted, and then moved Bryce back to the outfield. But, I'm sure it was a steep cost. The Padres were the most active team. They traded like half of their top 15 prospects to get Mason Miller, J.P. Sears, Ramon Laureano, and Ryan O'Hearn. Just a ridiculous haul that A.J. Preller said, if we're going to beat the Dodgers, we're going for it. They traded the number 3 overall prospect in baseball in that Mason Miller trade. The Mets made a couple moves. They traded for Ryan Helsley from the Cardinals, Tyler Rogers from the Giants as well. So they have some bullpen arms to go with Edwin Diaz. But overall, I mean, this is definitely one of the most active deadlines, maybe not as star-studded, but just in terms of like volume.
Yeah, I could see that. A lot of teams got a lot better. And that's going to be really fun because I think we're at a point now where we've separated the contenders from the non-contenders, and it's going to make for a fun stretch, I think.
Absolutely. All right, let's move into the Delco League Finals. Ben, your Upper Darby Blue Sox will be taking on Wayne for the 3rd time in 4 years. Let's real quick talk about how we got there. Then we'll welcome on Joey Suppa from Upper Darby and Tommy Bradley from Wayne. Both teams swept their semifinal series. Upper Darby took down Aston Valley in 3. They won Game 1 6-1. Kevin McGovern, likely MVP winner, definitely Cy Young winner. 7 innings, 1 earned run, 17 strikeouts, a ridiculous playoff debut.
Yeah, that was insane.
For the former St. Louis Cardinals, or not relief pitcher, I was going to say Double-A. I think Double-A, Single-A pitcher. Double-A pitcher. Sammy Berman, 2 for 3 RBIs. Christian Strickland, another guy who we talked about with Joey Suppa a little bit of a slower start now that they're not playing college ball, but has really picked it up as the season has progressed. In Game 2, Upper Darby 6, Aston Valley 3. Again, Christian Strickland, 2 hits, drove in 3 runs. Joey Suppa, 2 for 3 with an RBI. This was a split pitching game. Quentin Perilli, who will be heading to Rutgers this fall, 4 innings pitched, 3 earned runs, and 7 Ks. And Kevin King, all reliable, 3 innings pitched with 3 strikeouts. Game 3 was supposed to be at Sun Valley. It was a conflict, so it was back at O'Hara. Complete game shutout from Nick Dieva. 7 innings pitched, 10 strikeouts. Sammy Berman, 2 for 4, 2 RBIs. Sam Wright drove in a run as well. Ben, were you at all 3 games of the series?
Yes, I was at all of them.
What were your what were your thoughts about how you guys played?
Good. I was very happy with how we played. I mean, obviously the pitching was really impressive. I think that was kind of the main takeaway. Is just really got to see how good our guys are. I guess I really got to see like how good our guys are when kind of put them into a playoff scenario. And everyone was phenomenal. The offense put together a couple timely hits. Aston was like a little short over the weekend in terms of like manpower, but they put up a really good fight. But at the end of the day, again, I think it just goes back to our pitching and how well they did. I mean, those guys were phenomenal.
I feel so bad for your guy Dylan Everly, who I'm sure did not want to have to face Kevin McGovern, but as the team guy, he went in there to help the boys out. That's just it's like, hey, like you probably haven't played much this year. Yeah, go face the MVP lefty matchup.
Yeah. I was talking to him about it afterwards, and he was just like, dude, there's nothing, like absolutely nothing I could have done. It was gross. And yeah, I mean, Dylan, I don't know how many at-bats Dylan's gotten this year. I think when he was telling me it was like in the single digits. So to have that and then go see probably upper 80s from the left side with crazy movement is it's tough. It's tough. It's not what you want.
Absolutely. All right, let's move into this Wayne and Chester series. I did not get to go to these games over the weekend. I had some family in town, and on Tuesday I was completing some of the move-out process in my apartment. But we had Wayne 2, Chester 0. That was game 1. Tommy Bradley threw 6 shutout innings with 6 strikeouts. Secret weapon out of the pen, Alden Mathis, has only pitched twice this year, but he came in for the save. Like, he threw 1 game in a low-leverage situation just to see what he had. And clearly, Coach Brian Feely liked what he saw enough to throw him into a 2-0, semifinals game 1. He went 1-2-3. Stephen Wells homered. Luke Zimmerman had a sac fly. The Wayne offense really came alive over the next 2 games. They won 10-1 in game 2. Austin Havertine making his Delco League playoff debut. Just another day at the office. 6 shutout innings, 2 hits allowed, 8 strikeouts. Strathaven's Caden Schuster threw a clean, I don't think 1-2-3, but a clean shutout inning to wrap that game up. Alex Barris, haven't heard his name too much this summer since he went away to a college league in the second half of the year. 3 for 3, 3 RBIs. Alden Mathis had 2 hits and drove in a run. Cole Lombardo from Garner Valley had 2 RBIs, and Stephen Wells also drove in 2. So that's kind of the Wayne offense that, it didn't show up in the first game, but really started to mesh. And then in that game 3, Luke Zimmerman, 5 shutout innings, 7 Ks. So of the Wayne starting pitching, 17 shutout innings, or at least 17 innings with 0 earned runs in the series. Cole Peichel threw 2 innings of relief. Alex Barris, back-to-back 3 RBI games. Luke Mutz also had a 3-run triple, I believe. And Owen Mathis had a 2-run double. So just a great showing from a Wayne offense that, when Wayne loses in the playoffs, it's because they don't hit. It's not because they don't pitch. Those last couple years against Aston Valley, they've kind of just been suffocated in those semifinals against Aston Valley. So when they don't lose, it's because they don't hit, not because they don't pitch. So if this offense, continues to roll like they have been, it's going to definitely be a challenge.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's you look at the names and you look at the names in that lineup, and it's going to be tough pretty much any day for anyone. So it's going to be a very interesting matchup of, I think, like offense versus pitching, I guess would be the. I think our strength this year has been our arms, and clearly for Wayne, I think their bats are incredibly strong. So it's gonna be fun.
Yeah, obviously, I'm not putting you on the spot for a prediction. I'm not making one either. I do think it'll go 5 games. I'm gonna predict up until the 5th game. All right, ready? This is my oracle. All right, I'm gonna say Upper Darby takes game 1. Tough to bet against McGovern. He's been fantastic. I'll say in game 2, if Havertine pitches, he's thrown incredibly well. So I'll say Wayne wins game 2. I'll say Wayne wins game 3. If Luke Zimmerman's pitching, Upper Darby wins game 4. Maybe McGovern comes back on a little bit shorter rest, or you guys put it together, and then game 5, who knows?
Yeah, that's fair. I won't make any predictions towards games just because I'm going to be at least on one of the teams in the series. Who knows I'm going to play if we get the starting pitching we did in the semifinals. Fingers crossed. If I don't pitch, that means that our starters did fantastic. So, and would hopefully mean that we win the series. So I'll take that.
That's kind of like what you'll hear about Tommy Bradley a couple minutes with his Gloucester college team. It's like they didn't need me, like we won the national championship. We crushed everyone. Like they didn't need me. So but I'm excited for this series. So official schedule, weather permitting, Sunday at 2:00 at O'Hara, Monday night 5:45 at O'Hara, Wednesday 5:45 at Devon, Thursday 5:45 at Devon. And Ben, I would imagine if there's a game 5, it seems like that 2:00 at O'Hara's.
Yeah, I would imagine 2:00 at O'Hara.
Yeah, so that would be Saturday the 9th for a potential game 5. I'm looking forward to it. Like I said, I'm hoping I can get there for game 1. If not, we'll be there, the rest of the series. So looking forward to that. But without further ado, we got 2 longtime Delco League players coming on the show to talk about the finals. So let's welcome in Upper Darby first baseman Joey Suppa, followed by Wayne pitcher Tommy Bradley. All right, we are now joined by longtime Upper Darby Blue Sox Joey Suppa. Joe, what number season is this? At least 10, right?
It's probably I think it's 14 now. I started pinch running when I was 14. Dave would let me run for some of the older guys, but didn't really get to play until 16. But
how'd you get brought onto the team? Because you're not from Delco, correct?
No. So I've known Dave since I was 8. He coached my older brother in Little League for a little bit. And then my team beat my brother's team a couple times. So then, Dave made me move over to play with my brother for a little bit. So, but no, I've known him for my whole life. So easy decision once, he said he had a place for me to play. So
I love it. Well, what is it that kind of keeps you coming back? Because it feels like every year this league keeps getting younger and younger and younger. And I kind of asked Stephen Wells the same thing. What is it that keeps it's not like you have to get ready for a college season or anything. What drives you to keep playing?
Yeah, I don't know. People ask me that a lot, and I just I don't have a great answer for them. I just get bored at home, so it's might as well keep playing. I still like playing. I still feel like I can play. So once I think I suck really bad, I'll probably just stop. But until then, I'm gonna lace them up and go out there.
It's so hard, and Ben, you can speak to this too. For us old guys, when they're just rolling in from their high school and college seasons, they've been playing since March, and we got to come in and get in the box, and you're like, geez, I haven't touched a bat since the finals last season. Yeah,
I don't know how many games it was, but Ben, as my witness, I went 8 straight games in the beginning of the season without getting a hit. So
it was a little bit of a tough start, but it's turned around in the big way.
Yeah, we're back. We've seen it that once or twice. It's good.
Yeah, I think my first year when I left Upper Darby for Wayne, Dan Williams said something like the first 30 at bats don't count. He's like, yeah, that's spring training.
Yeah, especially if you're not playing. I maybe take batting practice once or twice over the year, so it's the first couple games are all, just trying to get back in the swing of things.
Yeah. All right. One question I wanted to ask here is that, when you joined Upper Darby up until that 2021 season, there are some tough seasons, some tough playoffs. So what has it been like kind of being a part of this culture being changed to the point where this is now the 5th straight finals appearance? It could be the 3rd title in those 5 years.
Yeah. No, it's cool. A lot of the younger guys, they just put their head down and they just bulldoze through these games. It's nice to be around them. They want to win. Everyone's got a goal and just working towards it. But back in the day, we had a couple rough years in a row. But it's nice when, like, I don't know, now I'm a little older, so it's, the team isn't really crazy depending on me 100%. So we have like some other younger guys. So it's nice to like let them take control for most of the game, and just like try to help them when I can.
Just try and be the vocal leader.
I'm not very example every now and then whenever I get the chance.
I love it. All right, let's talk about the squad this year. So, obviously you guys won the championship last year and then added two of the best pitchers in the league. So it feels like, Kevin McGovern, I don't have an MVP vote. If I did, it would go to him. I know pitchers don't really win MVP as much as Cy Young, but it feels like he's just been the guy where every time he steps on the mound, you're like, all right, we're not going to say, oh, we're going to win, but you feel good about your chances. Yeah,
McGovern's awesome. He's a guy that's older than me, so that's nice.
That's true. That's very true.
Nice to see him putting on for the old heads. But when he pitches, it's pretty easy out there for the most part. He just goes about his business. And he's like always thinking about the next pitch, how to make adjustments in the game. It's just awesome to like watch him go out and do his thing.
That's like the difference between some of the guys like that played D1 and then the guys that played professionally. Like they all are talented, but just hearing Stephen Wells and like guys like, Alden Mathis didn't play pro, but probably could have, like guys like that, just hearing them talk, you're like, I'm so far away, like mentally from where these guys are, like that they're thinking of things that I would never even imagine. Did Nick Dieva play independent ball as well?
I forgot. I know he played.
I couldn't remember because that team with that Marty took us in Labor Day. I know Jake Lyons played pro. I couldn't remember if Nick did as well.
He might have had like a cup of coffee. I forget exactly like what he was.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure on that one. He is the most dialed in person ever, though. So, he's all about the game, all about what he's trying to do. So it's I talked to him a little bit, but you stay away when he's in his zone. Let him.
Pitchers are funny because there'll be some guys like Ben. To me, you didn't always strike me as someone as like a leave me alone. When you're pitching, you're still like a obviously you're more of a reliever, so it's not like before a game you're like locked into like a stay away from this guy for an hour. But I feel like you're just talking to people like normal.
Yeah, I honestly think I talk more when I pitch than like when I don't. I don't know why. It just kind of like.
Yeah, I mean, talk or not, like I'm bothering everybody, so I still get in his ear every now and then when he's right. But
yeah, so this obviously 2021, our Upper Darby team was kind of like the fairy tale, like the underdogs. Now you guys kind of have that mentality, like we know how good we are. Obviously, winning last year kind of showed like that wasn't a fluke. Like we're here, we're legitimate. So how is it kind of going into the playoffs, thinking like we're the team to beat?
I mean, I like it. I like having a little target on our back. People want to knock us down now. It's been, maybe it still is Wayne, but it's been Wayne for a lot of years. Everyone wants to beat them, but now we got the chance. It's nice feeling like I don't want to say we're the favorite, but like you have that target on your back. People want to beat you. It is a nice feeling, just to know people think highly of you. No one's going to think that about a team that stinks or something,
Yeah, I guess the best way to put it is you're not the favorite, but you're not the underdog.
Yeah,
like you're not going into the series with everyone's picking against us.
Yeah. So two really good teams, going against each other. It's just I think we're trying to, the last couple of years we've been on that level with them where like the other teams, they circle the games on the calendar or whatever, they want to beat us or whatever you want to say. So it's been pretty cool to be a part of.
So we've on the show in the past, we've kind of talked about some of like the core members of the team. Who do you think is somebody who maybe like is a little bit more under the radar or like hasn't been needed yet in this playoff run that you think could kind of be like an X factor? I heard about this reliever named Ben Thorpe that wasn't needed in the semis, but I'm sure in a 5-game series, which I My only prediction is it's going to go 5 games. I don't know who's going to win. I think with you guys being the 1 seed, those 2022 and 23 years, that game was at Devon Prep. Now, if that gets to 5, it gets to be at your field.
Yeah. I mean, like, back to your question, I guess, like, yeah, all the under the radar guys are going to be pitchers. Like our starters, just they don't like coming out of the game. They like to go to hole 7. So feeling, but yeah, a guy like Ben, got to come in and get big out. I'm going to use your answer, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. All our guys have been, playing pretty well all year. So it's, we trust them. We believe in all them guys.
I think Kevin King's kind of been like a guy that's flown under the radar on your squad. He seems like he's always coming in, getting those last like 2 or 3 innings when needed.
Yeah, he's a dude. He comes in and just gets people out, and just doesn't matter who's in the box. I like my chances with King.
All right. Well, this series will be starting. Let's see. So we got Sunday at O'Hara, Monday at O'Hara, day off Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday at Devon. Selfishly, I think a Saturday Game 5 at O'Hara would be awesome. Maybe not for your guys' hearts,
That'd be pretty sweet.
But just for the sake of like getting people out. Like I think O'Hara is one of the best fields to just like have like a ton of people out at. Wayne's got the nice seats behind the plate, but O'Hara you can kind of get all throughout the line and stuff. I guess this could kind of go for both of you guys here. Is like, what do you think are just some keys, things that you need to execute on to be able to win this series?
One thing I would say is just, we've been doing a better job lately. It's like you get a guy on base, you can't just leave him out there. You got to get the run in. So we've been manufacturing some runs, laying some bunt down, just making sure we don't leave those costly insurance runs out there. But that's all I got to say. I don't know if Ben wants to take one from the pitching.
I was honestly going to say the same thing, like hitting with runners in scoring position, just capitalizing on chances because Wayne's a really good team, and we know like we're going to have a limited amount. So just being able to make the most of all of those when they do come would be the biggest thing. And then I would also say like winning Game 1, I think would be huge. Both times we lost in 5, we lost Game 1. So getting out ahead of that would be probably another really big thing for me.
Yeah.
No, keep going.
I was going to say, yeah, I think not the last time we played Wayne, but the 3rd time we played them in the season or whatever it was, we had like a couple run lead and we just kept leaving guys out there. So then they came back, tied the game, whatever, ended in a tie. So, knocking a couple more runs with the bases loaded here and there, then stuff like that doesn't happen.
Yeah. It's funny. I almost feel like this year it's a little bit backwards in the way it has been. That I feel like in 22 and 23, I would say Wayne had the better like top end starting pitching, but Upper Darby could hit better. I feel like this year it's almost switched because the Wayne lineup has looked very good in the playoffs so far. The pitching depth might not be what it has been in years past. So I'm curious to see, like if you guys are able to get their starters out early. I feel like this team is a little bit lighter on the back end because, Tommy Bradley's been great. Havertine didn't throw as much during the regular season just because like travel ball and stuff. Luke Zimmerman can start. But as of right now, like I'm not really sure who would start, a 4th game. So I think that is interesting. And then getting guys from Wayne like, Elliot Dix was a new addition this year. I think him and Alden Mathis are roommates. I think he played I don't know how they met originally, but he played for a year at North Carolina. Having Luke Mutz, he might not be able to play the field anymore, which is a shame because he's smooth out there. But, having him at the top of the order. So, I feel like it's almost a bit opposite. But I still think that these two teams, you could see it throughout the whole regular season, how much that you guys have kind of made that top tier. So I think for anybody out there that wants to see good baseball, I think it's going to be 5 games of heavy punches being thrown.
Yeah. Yeah, two pretty even teams here. For our sake, I hope it doesn't go 5 games. I hope we win 8, but two teams pitching, good lineups, so it'll be fun for sure.
All right, Joe, appreciate your time. Anything else you want to add here before we let you go?
No, I don't got much. I know you're on the other side a little bit now, so we have to be enemies for the next week, but
listen, I'll be wearing my Delco Baseball Now polo. I'm rooting for good games because at the end of the day, they don't pay me enough to really care. I just run the website. I had 5 at bats in the last 3 years, so
We're gonna keep that in there.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I've told them that before. Well, because I started one game this year. It was a doubleheader against Springfield. Feely was at a golf outing. We had 10 guys, and I started at second base and drove in 2 runs. We lost 18-6 in the game that I started, which I didn't pitch, so I can't take too much credit. I was the acting manager though, so I did get my first career Delco League coaching win though. So I'll take it. I'll take it. Cool. Yeah. But yeah, we'll have so our guy Joe. I don't know if you've ever seen him. We brought in an intern, David Shapansky, that would do our game of the weeks and would do the interviews. I believe he will be here for games 4, 5, and maybe 3. So I think that if we have him for one way or another, I don't see anyone sweeping this, but I think we should have him later on in the series. But I'm excited to watch these games. Hopefully the weather cooperates. We can get after it, but I appreciate you taking the time to come on, and best of luck.
Yeah, I got to start stretching now for Sundays. get in, get in the right headspace there. But it's good to be on here. Hey, you guys.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks, man.
All right, we are now joined by Wayne pitcher only, Tommy Bradley. Tommy, thank you for taking the time to come on. How are you doing?
Good. Yeah, thank you guys for having me. I always appreciate it.
How does it feel just being just a pitcher only this year? You dropped the catching.
Definitely a lot less taxing on my body, I should say. I mean, obviously there's days that my arm is hanging, but that's the pitcher's life that I'm getting used to now. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely nice not going back behind the plate in this 90-degree weather.
I love it. All right, before we dive into the Wayne stuff, I do want to give you a second to talk about the national championship run this spring that you guys went on with Rowan County Gloucester. So what was it like kind of being a part of that, and especially after such a long road to get to the college ball level?
Surreal. I would say this whole past year has been probably the craziest year of my life. And obviously that's a lot when I was just, coaching in Williamsport a couple years ago. So definitely a couple crazy things I've experienced. But yeah, I mean, I'd be lying if I said I wasn't nervous going in. Not only just being a new guy on the team, but also, being an older guy coming in to a team of mostly anyone from 18 to 21 at the oldest. Me coming in at 22, 23 was definitely a little out of the ordinary for most people, but those guys accepted me. Same with the coaches, with open arms, and we just put our heads down, did a lot of work. I owe a lot of the credit to the coaches and also the pitching staff for helping me out at being my first full year as just a pitcher. Learned a ton from both coaches and players, and being able to go out there and say I'm a national champion is pretty cool.
Will you be back there this fall?
Yeah, so I'll go back in the fall. Ironically, I was literally just looking at when I have to register for my classes before I joined.
I love it. All right. Let's talk some Delco League here. What year did you join Wayne? Because I assume it was Sean Mulholland who probably brought you over there.
Yeah, so the very first Delco League game I played was in 2019. I was a junior in high school, and it was just one of those, weekend games where you're struggling to get guys and they needed somebody to come catch. Went and played a game, and then was kind of here and there for, the 19-20 season, and then really became a full-time guy in 2021 until now. So it's been a while. It's weird kind of being that veteran now compared to always being that young guy.
I was going to say, when I got to Wayne, there was a ton of guys Peluso, Nate Sides, Dan Williams, those guys are the vets. And then all of a sudden you look around and you're like, wow, me and Wells and Luke, Brian are really the only ones that are still here from that era. The team's definitely got a lot younger lately.
Yeah, definitely. And, I know you guys had Wells on last week, and, can't stress enough how much a guy like that it means to have around. Like you just said, I was lucky enough to have guys like Brian or Wells, Sides, Sean, Even like somebody like Cam Mathis, like guys like that, like having them around, Dan Williams, you said, like all those guys, they give you a different perspective of the game, especially being like high school guys playing with these older dudes where you kind of learn how they approach the game compared to how you were constantly taught through, your high school and travel ball stuff.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. I feel like there's a lot of people that come into this league that may be more talented than some other people, but they just aren't as mature, like baseball IQ wise. Like I just said it, we had Joey Suppa on right before you, and it's just saying like hearing some of these guys like Wells and Alden and Luke talk, it's like obviously they're way more talented than me, but just hearing them talk, I'm like, these guys are geniuses out there.
Yeah, that's probably the biggest thing is just taking like the mental side of things from these older guys. Like obviously Alden, he played at Richmond and Clemson. He has these crazy experiences. One of our newer guys this year, Elliot Dix, like last year was at North Carolina. So like you can talk to him about experiences with the College World Series, like stuff like that. It's unmatched.
Absolutely. All right. So you talked a little bit about Williamsport. Last year, Wayne lost in the semis. So how does it feel to finally be back? You had to miss that whole 2023, really a lot of that season, right? Like I remember after you guys won in Bristol, we were sitting in the hotel in Bristol, and I think we had maybe like lost game 4 to Upper Darby, so we knew there was going to be like a 5th game. But at that point, like, you probably didn't get to play much. So how good does it feel to kind of be back in the finals and be able to just go out there and play?
Oh, dude, it's incredible. Honestly, like you said, I missed like probably the whole second half of 2023. So didn't get really any playoffs in. The last like full playoffs I played, I would say, would be 2022 when I was catching and we won that year. And then obviously last year was kind of the weird year where it was like started catching, broke my thumb, and then kind of sat around and was like, I'm getting the itch, and just taped up the hand and stood on the mound and just started messing around. But this year was nice to kind of jump fully back into it. But like I said, definitely weird not like being that consistent everyday guy. Like games where I show up and just sit there and watch, it's a little annoying, but it's cool. Like I said, it's a different perspective, but I love it.
Now, how was it? You were a reliever at school this year, so how was it kind of going back home and having to turn into a starter and just build that workload up?
It was definitely an adjustment. I mean, it was something I actually spoke to Feely about because, like, at school, I started as a relief guy and kind of transitioned into like a long reliever role. And I think the thought is to kind of explore if, I will become a starter. If not, I mean, once I get back to campus, it's one of those things, whatever they ask me to do, I'm totally fine with, and, I'll take it and run with it. But yeah, I wanted to prepare myself that if I am going to be a starter in the fall and, next spring, it was something I definitely wanted to try to put the work in and really grind out and make sure I'm prepared for it.
I guess we lost Ben, but we'll get him back in a second here. Well, it's funny. I was actually about to ask, we'll be taking on Upper Darby in the finals for the 3rd time in 4 years. So kind of what are your early thoughts? Did you face them this year?
Yeah, so I've pitched against them twice this year. One game I started and one game I think I was in relief. So, I mean, dude, they're always a good team, and they always have a tough lineup. A bunch of familiar faces. I mean, a bunch of guys that now it's kind of a different perspective. I'm used to calling games from behind the plate against these guys, and now I'm, staring at them on the mound. So, main thing is just, give my team a chance to win, go out there, attack, and, just see what happens.
I asked the same question to Joey Suppa, but obviously in both of the series there was a sweep, so you didn't get to see too much about the depth of teams in terms of hitting, in terms of pitching. So who do you think is someone who might not have had their moment yet, but is someone that could kind of be like an X factor in the series, whether it be on the mound or maybe off the bench, just somebody that's kind of flying under the radar?
Dude, I don't know if I could sit here and just name like one person. I mean, we we obviously, both teams, honestly, we're so deep with talent that at any given day it could be somebody that steps up. I mean, we're lucky enough that like we have a good group of young guys, high schoolers, whether it's, guys like, Chris Schaller in the outfield. You got Cole Lombardo, who had a tough role of stepping in for somebody like Nate Sides, who's been our shortstop for the past, however many years and has been a stud for us. And then, you got guys like Austin Havertine on the mound, who's really eating up innings for us with the injuries we had early on. So, we were missing a bunch of guys. And then obviously there's the veteran guys. There's Wells, who is probably the most terrifying hitter in the league when he steps in the box. You got guys like Alden, even Elliot Dix. He missed the semifinals, but now he's back for the finals. So, honestly, wherever you go, there's always somebody that can step up and have a good day.
When I left Upper Darby for Wayne, one of my reasons was I don't have to play first base when Wells is hitting again, because there was one time he might have still been on Chester at this time, but I was playing first and holding a runner on. I'm like, if this guy hits the ball at me, I'm not going to catch it. Like, I'm getting out of the way. That's a business decision.
I'm telling you, we had 2 close calls this year where he's hit balls to first base. The one actually hit one of the runners, took like a short hop, and like the kid literally took one step and it just hit him. Like there was nothing we could do, and we were just like, that had to hurt.
Yeah, Jesus, that's brutal. But all right, so the series. Sunday, Monday at O'Hara, Wednesday, Thursday at Devon. Saturday, Game 5 at O'Hara would be a lot of fun, I will say. I don't know if that's what anybody's heart will take here. Is there anything else you wanna add on here?
Nah, man, I'm just looking forward to it. I mean, I'm kind of just banking on Sunday, rolling around, getting here quick, just getting this thing started, and go out there and compete and hopefully come out on top.
All right, sounds good. Appreciate you taking the time. Best of luck. I think we're going to be – so if we stream Game 1, so I'm in the MSBL Championship, doubleheader Saturday, if necessary, Game 3 Sunday. So if one of the 2 teams sweeps, then we'll be able to stream Game 1. If not, we'll be there doing the rest of the games. I'm hoping so, because this is a great pitching matchup for Game 1 here.
Yeah, it should be fun.
Yeah. All right. Appreciate your time. Thanks for coming on.
Yep, thank you.
All right, thank you to both of those guys for taking the time to come on the program. Both those guys, I believe, have officially won 2 titles. Tommy, like you mentioned, was not there as much for 2023, but they've both been a part of a lot of championship teams. They know what it takes. They're ready for this. So I'm excited for this series, Ben. I'm not going to make you pick an MVP, but I think that, I think a lot of low-scoring games are coming, because as hot as the Wayne offense had been in that last series, the starting pitching of both teams has just been fantastic, and I don't see any of these guys, allowing 13, 12 games. That just doesn't seem like how this series is going to go.
Yeah, I agree. I think, and to be fair, I don't really, when we've played Wayne, I don't really think there really have been many high-scoring games. There might have been one where we got blown out. We got beat pretty bad in 23, I think, one of those games.
Oh, that was, we scored like 8 or 9 in the first inning.
Yeah, but that's, as far as I can remember, that's the only like real like high score, like when someone put up like a crazy number like that. So yeah, I think it's going to be a bunch of tight, somewhat low scoring games. I said it in the Suppa interview, but it's going to come down to who makes the most of their chances. It's with the pitching on either side. It's going to be, you're going to have to work for your runs. So it's really going to come down to, probably like guys in the middle of the order, like how can they perform? If you can get a clutch hit from someone kind of down at the bottom of the order too, it's going to be stuff like that. And, whoever gets the big hit, I think, and can keep getting the big hit will be the one to win this series.
From the regular season matchups, Wayne won the first matchup 5-3. Upper Darby won the second matchup 4-3. There was a 4-4 tie as well in there, and then Upper Darby won the last matchup 3-0. So you guys have the 2-1-1 advantage in the series so far. I'm just very excited, though. I'm excited to stream. Hopefully, the biggest question for me, a key to the series, is O'Hara's internet connection.
Yeah, that might be the. In terms of all things, like we have there's going to be a lot of talent on the field. I guess I can't really call an internet connection as talent, but it's probably the biggest question mark of the series here.
Internet is more of a role player, but it needs to play its part.
Yeah, no, that's a fair to go into like the basketball stuff. That's like that like backup center for the Sixers they haven't had for years. Just got the good stuff.
TJ McConnell.
Yeah, you got the game's kind of like Embiid out there doing his thing, and then the internet's when the bench comes in and they go down 20. So.
Yep. All right, everybody. Well, thank you for taking the time to tune in. I think we'll probably, depending on how the series goes, we might record a mid-series update, especially with like the Mid-County and MSBL done. So maybe like a Tuesday night recording, probably no interviews, but a Tuesday night recording here. Ben, I wish you the best of luck. I'm looking forward to a good series. Hopefully for our sake, it goes 5. But I appreciate everybody taking the time to listen. Come out and watch some Delco League baseball games and tune into our next episode. We'll see you then.
See you then.